We're putting your questions to the potential presidential candidates, or they are presidential candidates. We'll see what happens over the next couple months. Here now for our very first town hall is presidential candidate Tim Pawlenty, former governor of Minnesota. And Governor, about 20 minutes ago, we weren't sure you were going to make it. Thanks for hustling for us.
20 minutes ago, I wasn't sure I was going to make it, Jenna, but the plane finally landed and we're here. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it very much. I have a lot of questions from our viewers, and I'd like to just start off with one question about one of the big news headlines of the day, and it has to do with the economy and the housing market. We just got this reading on home sales. It wasn't good yet again, the lowest reading we've had all year long. What's your plan for fixing the housing market?
Well, I think, Jen, I have the most specific and aggressive plan of any candidate in the race, including President Obama, that I unveiled at his former place of employment, the University of Chicago. It includes significant reductions in business taxes, individual taxes, other incentives to get health care reformed, energy reformed, government pensions reformed, all of the things, regulatory reform, all of the things our business leaders and job providers are saying that we should do to get the economy moving again. And if that happens, that'll put more money in people's pockets, more jobs will be available, they'll be better able to afford their mortgages down the road and get new mortgages down the road.
Well, let me get your thoughts on this specific policy to get a better idea of how specifically some of this would help the housing market. The Department of Housing and Urban Development just got $1 billion from Congress as part of the new regulation, and that $1 billion can be used to give out interest-free loans to those who are unemployed or are on medical disability. It could help potentially about 30,000 families. If you were president, would you continue that policy?
Well, I haven't had a chance to go through the administration's proposals or what they're going to do with it, but if they are going to be required to spend it, number one, I would ask whether they even should be spending it. Most of the administration's programs in terms of foreclosure avoidance and delays haven't worked. In fact, the situation, as the news reports this morning, shows we still got big problems. But if it is going to be used, they should use it in a way that's effectively allowing people to refinance their homes under emergency or critical conditions. But I would question whether the whole program is going to work.
Richard, one of our viewers, was writing in on our chat here on foxnews.com/happeningnow, and he mentioned another governor. He said Governor Perry. He wanted your thoughts on Governor Perry. But a whole bunch of our viewers have written in and wanted to know about how you felt about former Governor Jon Huntsman jumping in the race today. Who do you see as your biggest competition?
Well, both Governor Perry and Governor Huntsman are friends of mine. I've served with them as governors. I consider them both political and personal friends. I welcome Governor Huntsman to the race. I think he's announcing today he's already done so it'll be great. He'll be a great new voice to the debate. I look forward to debating him down the road. I don't know if Governor Perry's going to get in the race or not. It's unclear whether he is. If he does, he'll bring something different to the table, as we all do. I bring, I think, the best conservative record in the race on taxes and spending and conservative judicial appointments and the like. But in terms of the current field right now, Mitt Romney is the clear front runner, or at least presumed front runner. But for those of us who aren't as well known, I think there's a great opportunity to catch him and win the nomination and the election.
Tom had another great question writing into us. He said, if you were elected in your first 200 days in office, what is the one bill you would want to see passed?
Well, I want to see a bill passed to get this economy moving and get the jobs growing. So my economic plan to cut business taxes, cut individual taxes, get the economy moving through better energy and health care policies, those are the kinds of changes we need to get the private economy going under my administration instead of the government economy under President Obama's administration. He doesn't have an economic plan. All he has, Jenna, is a campaign plan, and it's not working. We gave him his chance. Now it's time for a new direction and a new president.
Well, there's been plenty of criticism of the president, but also criticism of the Republican Party for not having enough new ideas when it comes to the economy. And one of the things that's been pointed out is this recycling, if you will, of cutting taxes and cutting taxes and cutting taxes, and that being the magic bullet for the economy. What else do you present for the economy and how to fix the economy besides simply lowering taxes?
Well, when you talk not to the bureaucrats or to this president who's been in government or has been in non-profit sector his whole life, when you talk to people who actually start businesses, grow businesses, and provide jobs, what they tell you is make it easier, not harder. Get the government off my back. So it's not just taxes. They also talk about streamlining and making easier the regulatory and permitting process. They talk about energy policies that would create more American supply as a way to hold down and stabilize prices in energy. They talk about making sure that we have a health care system that's not the abysmal Obamacare that's going to make it more expensive, not less expensive. They want real reform in health care that will really contain costs. Obamacare doesn't do that. So clearly it's not just about taxes, it's about those other things. And lastly, getting government spending under control. One of the things that's scaring the markets, scaring the investors, is government here's unwillingness to tackle this deficit, and the longer that drags on, the less confidence people have in the future, and that's not a good thing either.
Besides the economy, also another topic that so many are talking about is Afghanistan. And Fred wrote in with this question. He said, what happened to Afghanistan, Jenna? So obviously he wants me to talk about this. You know, we're expecting an announcement from the president about how many troops potentially he would withdraw from Afghanistan over the next several months. If you were president, what's your game plan, and how many troops would you take out of Afghanistan at this time?
Well, let's remember why we're in Afghanistan, which is we had individuals and groups there that planned and hatched the attack on our country of September 11th, 2001. They killed nearly 3,000 of our fellow citizens, so the invasion of Afghanistan was justified. I supported President Obama's decision to surge the troops. I wish he wouldn't have simultaneously announced a withdrawal deadline at the same time. I think that sends mixed signals. I think it is appropriate to revisit the policy now, but it should be based on conditions on the ground, not some arbitrary political timetable, you know, leading up to the elections.
So you would not make an announcement now when it comes to an actual number. Would you choose to make that announcement?
I think it's appropriate for the president to make an announcement, but I think the number should be focused on conditions on the ground, and if it's a relatively small number and it points to a direction of a drawdown down the road based on conditions on the ground and focuses mostly on support personnel, that may be appropriate. But if it's a big number based on political or arbitrary deadlines rather than what the mission really is in Afghanistan, then I would be very concerned about that.
Final question for you here. There seems to be a little sparring now between candidates after that other debate that we just had, and a little bit of a, I don't know if you call it, Governor, a little bit of a battle about who is the most conservative of the Republican candidates. And I was just curious, what do you think defines a conservative Republican candidate in 2012? What makes you a conservative?
Well, Jenna, there's third-party validation of all of that. I'm the only candidate in the race who's got an A grade from the Cato Institute, which is a libertarian or very conservative think tank. I got that during my last 2 years as governor. There's only 4 governors in the country who received that, and I'm the only one of those 4 running for president. And then beyond that, it's also not just about what you talk about, it's what you got done. So anybody can give up and give a speech about taxes or spending or health care or education or terrorism. But the question is, are you the kind of leader who has the fortitude to get it done, and do you have the results to show that you've done it? And in my case in Minnesota, I cut taxes, I reduced spending historically, appointed conservative judges, did market-based instead of government-based health care reform, did pension reform in the public sector before it was cool and popular. And I don't just get up and talk about these things. I did them in a very liberal place, and that's a big differentiator in this race.
Governor Pawlenty, we appreciate you taking the time to spend with our viewers and take some of their questions, and we look forward to having you back again, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenna.